Welcome to the Community Difference Plano, powered by the Difference Media LLC, and hosted by Nathan Smith with the Enfuego Group, and also sponsored by Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Megan Schaffer with the Hive of the Happily Insured, Jeannie Smith with Guardian Mortgage, a division of Sunflower Bank, N.A., Audra Hooper with Alloy Personal Training at the Glen Eagles in Plano and Castle Hills locations, and by Tyler Clifton with Harvest Business Solutions. The Community Difference Plano was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals. So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Plano starts now.
Good morning, Plano. Good morning. It is 11:32 on a beautifully fall seasonal Wednesday morning. I saw a meme the other day from, I think it was my wife, showing the seasons of Texas, most of which is hot. And then there's a season called Sumtum, I believe, which is part summer, part autumn. I think we experienced that last week. And so finally, I think we are in the beginning stages of fall. So that is good news. Welcome to the Community Difference Plano, a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. I am your host, Nathan Smith with the Enfuego Group, where we specialize in guiding your personal finances and offering tailored small business solutions. At the Enfuego Group, we're not just about financial freedom. We're passionate about empowering aspiring entrepreneurs to break free from corporate America. So I invite you to join us on our mission to ignite the fire for freedom and help you to live life on fire. Let's get to it today. It is the final week of our incredible topic, effective top-of-mind strategies, how to build a relevant and iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. Probably one of the greatest skills you can learn in today's business market. In order to help me discuss and talk about and really expand on this topic, I need to bring in my incredible co-host for this week with Alloy Personal Training. Audra Hooper is passionate about helping busy individuals understand what health means to help them know how to integrate healthy habits into their daily lives, allowing them to live empowered and joyful lives. Whether she's assisting clients in carving out time for strength training or offering nutritional support, she helps others discover strength, truth, and love within themselves. She has a Bachelor of Science in Health Science and certifications as an integrative nutritional health coach and personal trainer. She believes good health provides the freedom to explore, experience joy, and unlock potential. Please welcome Audra Hooper.
Good morning.
There's a lot of things. You got a lot of things going on. That was robust. So that's exciting. I know you got a lot of transition at y'all's locations, the Glen Eagles one in Plano, and then of course the one in Castle Hills. But are you hanging in there? That's the important thing.
Hanging in there. Growth. Good. It's a lot. You got to keep up.
What are you most looking forward to over the next week?
Well, I just came off of our first annual convention in Atlanta. I got to connect with franchise owners and directors from all over the country. And I'm just so excited to continue to grow and implement really the heartbeat of why Alloy was even created to begin with and implement that in our locations here locally.
Well, good. I know we'll hear more about that and some of the strategies that y'all are using through the difference in our podcast in order to do those things. Let's bring in your partner for today with Team Watson Redeemers. Debbie Watson leads Team Watson, a financial empowerment initiative focused on fostering financial literacy and securing a brighter future for families. The team collaborates with financial institutions to help families with saving strategies, debt management, income protection, and strategic investments for life milestones like retirement and education. Her current focus is expanding her team and supporting individuals who are looking for extra income to transition into a new career in the financial industry. She provides the necessary license and expertise for them to run and manage their own offices within the financial landscape. Please welcome, with Team Watson Redeemers, Debbie Watson.
Good morning.
Debbie, good morning. You're just so pleasant as always. Big smile. I know you got a lot of things going on. What do you have coming up that you're looking forward to?
Well, it's month-end madness for us, so I have lots of appointments lined up to help families. So excited to kick off the weekend.
That's awesome. Boy, I know that's a fun way of putting it too. I'm glad it's referred to as that, because it's pretty accurate sometimes.
It is
Very accurate. Well, let's bring in our guest this morning. First of all, Audra introduced us to Deb McFarland with OsteoStrong Carrollton, originally on a medical track, but switched to business to pursue a dream of becoming a professional horse trainer. We'll have to ask her more about that. After spending 25 years in private accounting, she shifted course 10 years ago, discovering OsteoStrong, a wellness franchise that aligned with her passion for science, movement, and business. She opened her first location in North Texas in 2017 and has become one of the leading experts on bone health. Her center has grown into one of the largest in the world, offering patented robotic technology that strengthens bones and muscles, improves reflexes, and reduces pain, fall, and fracture risk in just 10 minutes per week. That sounds absolutely amazing. Let's bring on to the show and welcome Deb McFarland. Deb.
Hello. Thanks so much for inviting me.
I have to ask you, can you give me like 20 seconds on a robotic technology, just like super fast? I know it's probably a long.
Absolutely. So once it's programmed properly to fit each individual on subsequent sessions, it automatically adjusts to each individual's skeletal frame to optimize performance, safety, and allow us to deliver enough stimulus to trigger rapid growth of muscle, tendon, ligament, and bone.
Well, I might need to get one of those. That sounds amazing. Well, that's awesome. Well, what are you most excited about? What's coming up for you?
So actually, this week we are beta testing a new robotic device on behalf of OsteoStrong Global. We were selected because we have a large center and I like cool, new, shiny robotic things. And it's called a back hug device. It's been brought over by Europe. It's a robotic physiotherapy device that relaxes the phalanges in the spine to reduce back pain and tension in very efficient 10, 20-minute sessions.
Might need one of those as well.
Sign me up.
Let's be friends, Deb. I think we could definitely talk. So, and then of course our last guest today. Actually, we have a secret guest, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But with Paychex, Marty Ellis is the director for Paychex PEO, leading several sales teams across multiple states from Colorado to Texas. Over 6 years at Paychex and previous experience at ADP, where he led top-performing sales teams. He brings a wealth of expertise in HR solutions. Background includes 17 years in the medical industry. He worked as a pharmaceutical rep and even assisted in removing deep-seated brain tumors. Man, got some interesting backstories today. That's awesome. Using specialized radio frequencies, Paychex PEO provides businesses with comprehensive HR solutions, handling payroll, employee benefits, HR administration, and compliance. Please welcome Marty Ellis.
Thank you.
Marty, good morning.
Glad to be on the show.
Good morning. So you work with a brain, and now you're working with HR. So that's quite the pan of different expertises there, which is awesome. Yes. So I won't have you go into that too much, but I'll ask you the same question that everybody else had. What are you looking forward to the most that's coming up in your world?
In my world, what I'm looking forward to, we're combining teams with the Central and the Midwest. So that's given about 120 lives, and just exciting to help develop the young talent and give them better ideas how to do storytelling and just how to present our difficult product in a simple fashion. So that's what's been a lot of fun.
Hold that thought on storytelling. We might be talking about that a little bit later. So, and then let's bring in a surprise guest. We'll bring in Linda, if you just want to bring in Diane Castle with Castle to Castle. She is our second week co-host, but we tasked her to go into the field on a deep reporting assignment to check out one of the events that is our Plano Police Department has put on, and she's going to report back on what she learned and why that's so important for our community. So we'll do that right after the break. If you'll stick around, enjoy these commercials, and we'll be right back with What's Up Plano.
The Community Difference Plano was made possible by Nathan Smith with the Enfuego Group, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions. Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators. Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel. Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage. Megan Schoffer with the Hive of the Happily Insured. Jeannie Smith with Guardian Mortgage, a division of Sunflower Bank, N.A. And by Audra Hooper with Alloy Personal Training at the Glen Eagles Plano and Castle Hills locations. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Plano?
What's Up Plano, sponsored by Voodoo Brewery. If you're looking for a great place to relax with delicious craft beer and support a local business, check out Voodoo Brewery, locally owned and operated. This brewery gives back to the community and offers a wide selection of unique beers that you won't find anywhere else. A huge variety of beers. I can personally attest to tasting many of them. They have delicious food and a family-friendly atmosphere. They are a must-visit for downtown. Mention the Community Difference podcast for 20% off your first beer. Speaking of, we'll get to Voodoo Brewery in just a moment, but tomorrow at 4 p.m., we will continue with our second month of the Plano pod, the Plano version of the Community Difference Business Development Alliance. This is not like your traditional networking. It's going to be at First Christian Church of downtown Plano, right there on 15th Street. A historic church, been there like 200 years, I think. This is not your typical networking. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going through some curriculum in a book called The Entrepreneurial Difference, if you want to throw that up there, Lyndon. This is Lyndon's really pride and joy that has been a massive success, not only on Amazon, but starting to see the value of the things that we talk about on the show and his many years for just many years of helping businesses increase their bottom line, understand their visibility, figure out why they're not succeeding, right? What's the number one reason that businesses fail, small business specifically? They're not seen, heard, or remembered. Well, how do we do that? This is going to make the difference by teaching people how to build what he calls an ecosystem of opportunity. And so we're going to get into the specifics. There's a workbook associated with that, and it's fantastic. So month 2 of that, we've got some exciting news as we're going to be kind of increasing the frequency of those meetings, allowing more people to be on those trainings, and it's going to make a big difference. Starting next month, we will be, for the foreseeable future, at Love and War in Texas, which is right there at Plano Road and 75. So tomorrow, come out and see us at the First Christian Church, and then make a 4-minute walk up 15th Avenue to Voodoo Brewery for our happy hour. Yes, we're going from a church to a bar. Hopefully that doesn't offend your sensibilities. It's going to be a lot of fun, I promise. And if you are a first-time guest, when you check in there at the happy hour, you are eligible to win a free appetizer, drink, and entree coupon. We've got one more to give away, and I want to give it away tomorrow. So we've been doing these happy hours for 4 months. They've been a great partner with us, Voodoo Brewery. And as we transition to Love and More, simply from a logistics standpoint, we'll definitely be doing some more stuff with them down the road in the future. But special thanks to them, guys. If you haven't been, please check that out. Okay, one quick thing that I do want to share. I got an email from our city councilman, Shelby Williams, who was on the show last week talking about property tax increase, and he's going to be, just as a follow-up, he's going to be producing a video with slides and just really in more detail of what he talked about last week, so that if you're like me and that just kind of goes over your head, you don't like paying more, but you don't really understand why, we will get that to you. We'll post it on our community page and make sure that you guys get a chance, because he's really good at explaining. Unfortunately, I want to bring something else to everybody's attention. It's not the brightest news in the world, but it's something important to know. So starting in October, there is going to be a water rate increase. This is not something voted on by Plano. Plano gets its water, as you may know, from the North Texas Municipal Water District. So unfortunately, as they raise their rates, the city has to raise theirs as well, specifically in the areas, as you see, from 1,000 to 5,000 gallons, which is most everybody uses significantly more than that. And so they're being charged more, so unfortunately they have to pass that on to us. They were actually subsidizing that for a long time, trying to keep prices low. but they haven't been able to do that any longer. And so the good news is it's a part supply and demand issue as well. Collin County is exploding, which means more people, more water. So the demand is high, and thus the problem. The good news is there is a lake, actually Bodark Lake is being constructed because there is a need for more lakes in Texas. You may not know this. There is only one natural lake in the whole state of Texas. Anybody know which one that is? Diane knows. You don't know? Okay. It's actually on the border of Louisiana and Texas, Caddo Lake. Everything else is Caddo. Yep, exactly. Every other one is man-made. So we need more man-made lakes so we can collect more water, and that will hopefully be able to send those prices down, over the next couple of years. But that's an update. If you want to reach out to any of your city councilmen, certainly do that and, ask for more clarity. But I think that pretty much explains the necessity of that, even though it's not exciting for us. However, there are some exciting things to be doing. Get the bad news out of the way first. I'm going to turn it over to Audra. There's some exciting things happening in the world of medicine in Plano, and I'll let her take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this. It's not something we want to think about, but Children's Medical Center in Plano is actually taking the next 6 to 7 years to expand. It's going to be amazing. They've partnered with UT Southwestern. There's going to be 2 million square feet in there, 2 12-story towers and an 8-story tower. There's going to be an advanced NICU. It's going to be a research facility. This is important for all of us, but there's 2.5 million kids in the DFW area, and that's projected to double in the next 25 years. And for me personally, this might not have been as deeply moving to me until the day I needed it with my own kids. Parents out there know it is the most terrifying. It's the scariest thing when your kid needs immediate medical attention right now and you're not prepared. Where do I go? Who can I trust? So having this in our backyard at such a state-of-the-art, amazing. It's going to be one of the largest and most cutting edge in the nation. So I'm excited that in the next few years, it will receive national recognition. But those of us who live in this community who are parents, that unexpected thing happens, we know where we can go and feel like we're going to be taken care of and our kids are going to be okay.
Well, it's nice being able to have that so close to home, even though you don't really, other than a broken bone, you don't really like to think about having to go to the hospital because usually it's more serious if you're going to a children's hospital. So, but good to know that we're in good hands. Debbie, I should say. We got a Deb and a Debbie. Debbie, big things coming up for business owners, opportunities around the Halloween season. Talk to us about that. You're on mute, though, so you got to unmute first. There you go.
Thank you. Had a dog in the background earlier. There is what they're calling a trick and trunk, October 19th from 5:30 to 7. Vendors are still open, so we'll hopefully set that sign up in there. Great opportunity. And then afterwards, they're actually having a movie for the kiddos. It will be Beetlejuice. So it would be a great time to come out and support the local community, but great for vendors. And I know that at least 3 of our co-hosts will be out there representing their businesses. So be sure and come check that out. And then
Debbie, we'll be out there too. One of us, I'm not sure who it's going to be, but one of us. So come out and meet us with the difference. We'll be out there hanging out too.
Awesome. And then just one other event that I wanted to bring up in October 19th, Plano International Festival will be going on in Haggard Park. So that is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. They'll have food trucks and all your international stuff. So it'll be a great time to just get out and mingle. I don't know if they have vendor spots left, but definitely might be another business opportunity for people, but definitely just to get out and meet people and have some fun. And it should be nice weather, hopefully.
And we'll have I'm totally blanking right now. I've had a meeting last year with the wonderful woman that runs the Plano International Festival. And just because I'm just, you have to just lose a name, but I will try to get her on because she's a fascinating. I believe she's from Argentina, and we'll have her on and kind of talk more in depth about the opportunities there, if there are more spots available, but specifically around just the cool cultural event. I recommend going October 19th, and it's pretty much an all-day affair, I believe. Isn't it like 11 to 6? It's a long
10 to 5.
10 to 5. Okay, perfect. Well, awesome. Thank you, Debbie. And lastly, before our break here in a few minutes, Diane Castle, as I mentioned, a wonderful co-host on week 2 of our podcast here in Plano. She talked about an event called the CRASE event, CRASE. If you want to pop that up for about 5 seconds, Lyndon. She went to this event on the 17th, and she's going to share kind of what she learned and why it's so important, and just the great job that our Plano PD is doing for the citizens. So, Diane, I'll let you finish us out here.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. But I do have to put a plug in for Caddo Lake.
Okay.
If you like to fish, I'm telling you, Caddo Lake is the place to go. And I'll put that bug in your ear if you like to fish.
It's probably because the fish, it's such an old lake, it's not man-made. The fish have gotten out and they passed the word along that this is where they need to hang out. And so with many thousands of years of communication. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, that might
probably
be
not
true.
scientific at all. But anyway.
That's called brand development.
That's right. Top of mind fishery. That's exactly what that is. Okay, go ahead, Diane. We digress.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm really excited to give you all this update. I'm really excited about how the Plano Police Department is not just protecting us, they're serving us, and they're really trying to unite us as a community. And so this CRASE event training, it stands for Civilian Response to an Active Shooter Event. So that's the acronym. And it was really a safety brief from a couple of the crime prevention unit officers. And, they gave us some highlights, and I'll just share a couple of those highlights. In past events around the country and around the world, the location of these attacks on citizens are, the typical places, open spaces like malls, parks, any healthcare facility, and of course, unfortunately, schools. So what they shared with us was pretty important. It's not just guns that are being used as weapons. Knives are used, and unfortunately, vehicles. There was an incident where someone use their vehicle to drive up and down a sidewalk and attack people that way. So be on the lookout for those things too. And there are ways to reduce casualties when something like this happens. And one of those solutions is to get out, run away from the area. And the second one that a lot of people forget to do is to call 911 to get law enforcement there as quickly as possible. The national average for law enforcement to arrive on the scene is 3 minutes. Now, I don't know about you, but if somebody has a gun, 3 minutes is a very long time to inflict casualties. I want to talk to you about some other things that you can do. There are 3 types of action, and none of them is better than the other. Just to be clear about that, to avoid the situation, run out of the kill zone. Know where your exits are if you are in a building or if you are in an open area. If you are in a mall, know where your exits are, and of course, then call 911. The second action item that you can do is hide. I'm going to say that I would not recommend that unless you are trained. And if you're trained like me, and I recommend that you do that to protect yourself and the people you care about, and even people that you don't know. But if you hide, they're talking about finding a place, lock the door, turn the lights off, and most importantly, stay out of sight. And the biggest thing is turn your cell phone off, because if they're walking by the hallway and they hear your cell phone go off, that's a big red flag. The other thing, when you're hiding, if you've been able to lock a door or barricade a door with a file cabinet or a desk, make sure that you lie down on the floor, that you're not standing up should they decide to shoot through the door. But typically what they'll do is they'll move on. If the door is locked and they cannot get in, they won't spend time trying to break through the door. The third is probably the least thing that you want to do, and that is to fight, to stand and fight and defend. There are many things that you can do if you take this training. The biggest thing to remember is 98% of these violators are solo attackers. So there's only one. There might be two, but there's typically 98%. There's only one. So it's kind of overpowering that person if he should invade your space. And if you have more people to help you overtake him. The last thing I want to bring up is there are many websites to help you with this. But the biggest one that covers all of these is fbi.gov/survive. And again, that is fbi.gov/survive. I highly suggest that you all take this kind of defensive training to protect yourself, because what we all want to do if we find ourselves in this situation, we want to tell ourselves that I am confident, that I have a plan in place in my mind, that I have trained myself, mindset, and that I am going home tonight. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you to our Plano Police. When is the next training?
They do not have that on the calendar yet, but okay. I am going to be kind of the liaison with the Plano Police Department, meeting with them in a week to find out and keep updated on their calendar of events.
Yeah, because we may be able to get enough business owners together too, where we can just have our own event. That would be awesome, either through the difference or just spread the circle out a little bit wider as well. I know that would be very important. And we've been talking behind the scenes about doing. We have a contact that does some firearm training too, so I think that's obviously an important. Goes hand in hand with that as well. So Diane, thank you very much. Obviously not the thing that you want to think about, but you've got to think about it because you got to know what to do in those situations. And so it's like, planning for retirement or a funeral or whatever. You got to do the things that you don't want to do, because if you don't do them, then when that situation comes, it could be much, much, much worse. So thank you guys. Thanks Audra and Debbie and Diane. When we come back, we're going to jump right into the topic, effective top of mind strategies. How the heck do we do that without being salesy and self-promoting? We'll tackle that on the other side of this commercial break. Stick around.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Enjoy DFW's most fun, affordable night out and catch the Rough Riders, the AA affiliate of the Rangers, at beautiful Riders Field in Frisco. Get your tickets at ridersbaseball.com. The Frisco Rough Riders, the future stars of your Texas Rangers.
Are you or someone you know pregnant or planning to conceive? Caitlin Smith is both a certified childbirth doula and instructor offering childbirth classes to couples wanting an unmedicated, physiological birth outside of the hospital setting. Caitlin has served the local community since 2021 and specializes in working closely with midwives, all while best supporting a mother's physical body, her partner, and the birth environment. You can contact Caitlin through Instagram at thismamadoula or email her at caitlinsmithdoula@gmail.com to learn more about childbirth classes or her doula services.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
Welcome back as we dive into our topic, effective top-of-mind strategies without being salesy or promotional, building that iconic brand in a way that's actually going to resonate with your audience and with a larger audience, right? That's the important thing that I think we often forget is we do things to target our audience, but we don't realize the power of being relevant to a larger audience that may not need what we do in that moment, but certainly knows people that possibly do. And so when we talk about that, we want to understand that it's about building a value in who we are, not just our particular service, product, whatever. Okay. And so we do these in a number of ways, right? We become a value-driven person, right? I don't mean like our personal values, although that's important. But we're providing value more so in our area than other people. That's a way of standing out. Marty mentioned storytelling, teaching I can't wait to hear more about that. Finding ways to co-create within our community. That's very important. Anywhere from being a voice of social responsibility, right? There's all being a thought leader in areas outside of our particular realm or our particular industry. These are all ways of doing that. But I want to talk more. I want to pose a question first, okay? And kind of have everybody's answer, and then I know you guys have got some stuff prepared that you want to talk about, but I want to just kind of get this will be a good way to start us off. Imagine you could sponsor any major event, okay, or calls, whatever you want it to be, but it can't be related to your business. Like you can't mention your business, right? How would you strategically leverage that sponsorship to build a top of mind recognition without being self-promotional? Okay, so you're building your brand through this sponsorship, but you can't mention your business. Okay, so nobody got this question in advance because I want to just kind of get top of mind. Anybody want to jump in first? I know that's a heavy question, but I think it's a good way to start us off. I'm gonna call on somebody if we.
I can start.
Okay, Audra, go ahead. Perfect.
Part of one of the passions that I have in my community and in the world is homelessness. So if I was going to create an event, I would do so around some sort of food drive and bringing the community together and connecting, those of us who have with those of us who don't. And I think that it's not exactly my industry, right? Fitness and nutrition, but so many of us struggle with, what do I eat? I eat too much. I eat too little. I eat the wrong things. And we're worried about ourselves and what we're eating and how it's affecting us. But there's other people who are wondering if they're going to get another meal, and if so, when. So just broadening all of our horizons on a topic that is relevant, it should be, and bring that top of mind. And I can do that as a person or as a business entrepreneur. Well, I think that's great, because at the end of the day, and this is something that I actually struggled with for a long time, we try to relegate being top of mind to people that want what we want, or what we do at rather, right? And the more important thing is, and this is not for selfish reasons, but the more you're known for more things, whether it's providing value or just being a community leader, somebody that can get stuff done, that can make exceptional stuff happen. We call that mesh in the difference lingo. The more you're known for that, the more opportunities are going to present themselves to you, and the more you're going to be able to run with those. And eventually it's going to drive back to the thing we want, which is growth and in our business. And, but it helps us step out of the transactional, where we only see well, if I'm not going to get any new fitness clients, I don't want to be a part of this homeless drive. I mean, you would never say that, obviously, but there's so many people that do that.
and they focus, especially in the fitness industry, on, obviously personal connections and offering guidance on fitness and nutrition. And that's what their stories and posts will be about on social media. And those are good. You don't want to stop doing that. But I think people conflate, just kind of the natural things you would do in your profession, especially like customer service, things that everybody should be doing, with actual strategies to stay top of mind. And so that's why I posed the question. I love your answer. Marty, let's go to you. I hope you've had time to percolate a little bit. Maybe you got a good one for us.
Along the same lines of Audra, when I think about this, I would be thinking about some type of health drive, something to really make the community aware of health. And it goes back to the employees. Healthy employees create healthy businesses, which create healthy communities. And that'd be the connection without even trying to sell them on that point. It's just focusing on individual health, and you can expand from there.
Well, I love that. You've got two health industry people right here. I'm gonna challenge you live here to you guys connect afterwards and figure out a way to do something like that in the next month or so, because I think there's tremendous opportunity there. Deb, let's open it up to you. What would you do if you can't mention anything about your business? What would you sponsor, and how would you leverage that to raise your top of mind status within the community?
It's a little myopic, and I'd like to be a little more philanthropic and do more in the nonprofit space. But what I've learned in the industry is very few people think about bones until you become older, you become frail, and then it becomes much more difficult to build. And this is becoming an epidemic problem. I just saw a research study that Ozempic, which is the darling of the weight loss community, is accelerating bone loss. Imagine
that.
Imagine, right? What else could it be doing wrong in the body when it starts shocking with things like that? So just the education, the importance of skeletal strength so that we age well. We focus financially on saving for retirement, building that nest egg. But we don't realize that the more we deposit into our bone bank early in life, the more it preserves our health going forward. And just general information, because nobody thinks about it until we get to the point that it's very difficult to address.
So how would you change that into a sponsorship of a cause or something? Like, what would you, that already exists, but you can't mention you can't mention your business. So how would you leverage that to increase? Because that's your passion, obviously.
Absolutely.
But what would you sponsor that would allow you to increase your top of mind, but not mentioning your business?
Well, I love Marty's idea about creating wellness events, and simply for the purpose of education, not for self-preservation or promotion, is just to let people why this matters, what affects bones, who's at risk. Why are we going to see an early epidemic of osteoporosis among my daughter's generation? Because they weren't out running and jumping and playing. So partnering with other wellness experts to bring people together to learn about how do we not just increase our health, our lifespan, but our health span. Really just education. That's my passion.
Well, and your industry, you probably post a lot of educational posts, maybe some client testimonials, things like that, but a way to go deeper in that field with your brand specifically. And you have obviously become an authority in that field, but you talked about this a little bit, is hosting workshops on bone health, maybe bringing in other people in other industries and just widening that market where, it's not necessarily about your business. It's about the greater good. Absolutely. And you bring different people like Audra and Marty and others that have that passion. That becomes a very engaging narrative that doesn't necessarily point to your business, but it points to everybody collectively, as these people care about longevity. And you see this now. I mean, I'm not to get off topic. You see there's so much more awareness now of people wanting to take better care of themselves, and we could have a whole show on that, so I won't go, but that's encouraging. So I would encourage you to take advantage of those desire and do exactly what we just talked about. I mean, I know you're doing that already. Deb, no, damn, I did it again. Debbie, man, can you just go by Deb also, Debbie Watson? Will that be okay?
Yeah, whatever.
I've only known you for 2 years, so probably should. I asked the same question to you.
Yeah,
I need to repeat the original question.
Yeah, no, I got it. So I would like to do something with veterans because my husband is a veteran, and I see that transition from being in the military to civilian world is not always easy. So, doing some kind of transition workshop that you could really ask and have other supporters that could transfer and give them areas that can help them adjust to the new life, because there is a lot of adjustments.
Okay, so that's what you would want to give to, but tell me how. So you donate to that. How does that affect Debbie Watson in the eyes of the rest of the community? How do you leverage that? Because that's what we want to be thinking about. I know we all have causes that we want to give to, but we got to think about leveraging this to raise our awareness within the community without pounding, hey, financial services,
Right. Well, and I come back to education. So the program would be a educational platform so that you would have other speakers, but then more one level of, hey, you need to look at your TSP. You need to look at all this stuff so that they understand what they have, not trying to, hey, you got to come talk to me, but an education. That's what I would focus on, is education.
Yeah, and that that is education is a word that's thrown around a lot, but it's actually really good, because I don't know how many people have signed up for something that looked interesting because of somebody that you respect, maybe a business coach or Grant Cardone, because I'm giving away my secret for free, right? And you're like, okay, cool. Send me the free pen. People love that, right? And so education and bringing multiple resources into one area is actually promoting everybody else, but not promoting yourself. And that's obviously a very important thing. And so, we keep doing the things that are working within our industries, but a lot of those things are just because they actually provide great customer service, or they are just a necessity within the industry. Like, you'll post some financial tips and tricks and things every once in a while. I'll do the same thing. Everybody does that. Don't stop doing it. But that's like middle of mind awareness. That's not top of mind. And so we've got to challenge ourselves. And that's why I posed that question. I know, Debbie, we were talking on the phone earlier. You had a couple things you wanted to ask Marty before. We got about 4 or 5 minutes before we wrap up the topic.
Okay. Yeah. Marty, so how have you used storytelling to convey your brand values and mission in a way that resonates emotionally with your audience? And how has that influenced your customer loyalty, would you say?
A great question. Storytelling is one of the art forms of sales that a lot of people don't really get into or don't know how it correlates. I'm going to give you quick examples. I introduce myself. I walk into a meeting. I say, Deb, Audra, Nathan, first time you're getting a chance to meet me, write down these 3 numbers. Numbers 35, 44, and 1. What is 35? I'm the 35-year-old record holder at Syracuse University for the 400 hurdles. I still hold the record today. I was the second running All-American, and I did it because I was first ambidextrous hurdler, right and left leg. What did I learn about from that? Discipline. The 44, I am fortunate that I've done total knees, total hips, spine, neck. I've seen entire face taken off in surgery. I've been an assistant next to surgeons my entire career, and I was able to do deep-seated brain tumors in 44 states across the U.S. It allowed me to see the entire country. But what did I discover? It doesn't matter if I'm in Omaha, Florida, or New York. Everything comes down to a process, and that helped me a lot. I took both those things, discipline and process, and I brought it to Paychex and ADP, and I was able to have the #1 salesperson in the country teach them how to use stories to get a point across without trying to sell, just simply educate. 35, 44, and 1. That gives you my history in a minute and 15 seconds.
Boy, I definitely did not forget those numbers. So
wow.
I'm not going to forget that. I like that.
That's the point. If you deliver something that way, people remember it. It's called a number play. So let me correlate that over to what I do today in Paychex. I teach all of my reps in Texas, Oklahoma, and Colorado. I said, listen, whenever you get with a client, let them know you're not going to sell them a thing today. All you're going to do is educate them. The first I want to educate you on is the history of Paychex. Here's a number for you, 38,773. It's not 38,773. It's 38 years it took Paychex to go from 1971 with small businesses just like yours to the year 2009 to get to their first $1 billion in revenue. but it only took from 2009 to 2016, the number 7, to go to $2 billion in revenue. Then from 2016 to 2019, they jumped to $3 billion. And then despite the pandemic, over the last 3.5 years, they've gone to $5 billion in revenue. What is causing this rapid rate? It's because of all the compliance laws that businesses have to deal with. Because those compliance laws, we have to comply. COVID-19 was just a good example. Look how many laws came out of COVID-19, and who's going to educate them? A company like Paychex is.
Go ahead. Finish that last number. You're making me think of things, so go ahead.
Yeah, and the next number is going to be 1, because it's only going to take us 1 year to go to another $1 billion. Why? Because over that 52-year period, we have 784,000 clients, and the new gold in this world is called data. We have more data than anybody else in the world that's authentic because we take every phone call from every customer. That's why people should believe in Paychex. You're now making me think of like my numbers that I want to create a story with. That's really good. Audra, go ahead. Thank you, Marty. You're welcome.
Thank you, Marty. That was awesome. I have a question for you, Deb. I know with your industry, with OsteoStrong, there's so much education and it's relevant to all of us because we all have bones, right? And you're passionate about the technologies that you use and the new one coming out this week. But not just focusing on the technology, how do you incorporate client stories and storytelling into your message? Because we all know, as much as we geek out on the data when it comes to what we're passionate about, the general audience connects more with stories, right? So how do you do that with OsteoStrong to connect with the audience?
So the most obvious thing that we do is, of course, success stories. You know, people that can get out of a chair without using their hands. They can put their pants on one leg at a time. They can hike with their grandchildren now because their back and joint pain is resolved, or they have strength and the stamina to do that. But also we use analogies, which are great little stories. I can get very geeky very quickly on bone, on mechanically what's happening within bone, but what we say in, across all industries is facts tell and stories sell, right? So to explain what we're doing for bone, I say what we're doing, why are you coming into a session once a week? Why we do one intense stimulus and not repetition of sets is due to what bones need. And what bones need, what we're doing is tantamount to hooking jumper cables up to a car battery. And when you send a sufficient charge to your car, it's going to pop on and run. And once you get that car running, you can leave it the heck alone. And once we do the same for bone mechanically, once we put enough compressive stress on bone, we create that spark, that charge, and your bones are going to build for about 7 to 10 days. And we just let them do exactly that. We don't overstimulate. We don't deliver that stimulus. We just get it started, and then we can step back. And so by using analogies like that, same thing. One of the things that we're doing, we're challenging a lot about what people understand about how do you affect strength in the human body. And, people are like, well, how can you come in and do it once a week and one intense stimulus and affect change? And for bone, why don't we, if one is good, why don't we do it 2 or 3 times? And another great analogy. So if you have a heart that goes into arrhythmia and you need to shock it back into rhythm, and you warm up those little paddles and you hit that heart and boom, perfect sinus rhythm, right? Well, if once is good is twice better, right? No. Leave it
like I'm done being shocked. Thank you. That's enough shocking.
Exactly. Right? So just some simple analogies really help convey without needing to go down to sciencey work. If I'm speaking to a physician, that's one thing. If I'm speaking to a layman, I need to get the message across so that it's understandable and it's retainable.
Right. Yeah, well, you spoke right to me, and I don't even think you knew it. I never thought about the next generation having weaker bones because they're so sedentary. There's more video games. There's more technology. They're not getting outside, running, jumping, playing. I have 2 kids, 10 and 12. Mine are active, but I thought I equate bone health with an older generation, but I wasn't connecting it to my own children. And you made me think differently.
Absolutely.
Well, so what you guys are saying here is that your audience is bigger than what traditionally someone would think. They hear osteo, they think osteoporosis. Well, that's old people. That's not me. Yeah, and you can get it younger and younger. So I would and you're doing this, and education is a huge part of that. But so I would challenge you guys to come up with something together where you guys can promote each other, because you got so many cross pollinating opportunities here offline. And I appreciate, Deb, you sharing that. I think that the biggest takeaway is that we want to realize that, the old saying, what is it? I'm totally blanking out. Even if it's bad news, for business, like bad news is still news. Good, the good news or bad news. Now that's not always true for a business. Like, you don't want a terrible write-up in a paper, but generally speaking, the more things that people know Deb McFarland for as a resource in the Carrollton, Plano, Collin County community, or Marty or Debbie or Audra, the more top of mind we're going to be. And so the whole idea behind the topic is, yes, do we want to do things that are unique and differentiate ourselves within our sphere? Absolutely. But I want to challenge us to think beyond that. This is why I posed the question originally, because if we can think about ways to become top of mind as us and not as a representative of our business, then that's always going to trickle down to our business, because it's just going to open up more people. I want people, I don't know the answer, but Deb knows everybody, or Audra knows everybody. You need to talk to them. Or, oh my gosh, Audra did this symposium on something that I didn't know she knew about. Well, how did she learn that? Well, she's connected. And all of a sudden, we become a resource in our community. And so I know you guys are already doing that in a lot of capacities, but I challenge us to continue in that same vein. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll dive in a little bit deeper with Deb and Marty, so stick around. We'll be right back.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
And now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Over the next few minutes, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper before we take our last commercial break. Let's start with you, Deb. I know you're in the Collin County area, Carrollton, Plano area. Talk to us about how you've really connected with the community locally. And for small businesses, what would you recommend outside of kind of your traditional measures of, go to the Chamber of Commerce or something like that? Not saying don't do that, but just how have you kind of put your footprint in this area? And what would you recommend to local businesses or any citizens in general that are trying to connect and get a better feel for their community?
So in full transparency, that's not been my shining star.
Okay.
I tend to dig in deep to my specialty. And one of the ways that I really need to go to the next level with my business is create broader awareness of us and to get in the community and become known, right, and involved and giving back even further. I give back very locally to what we're doing in a very profoundly way, but I want that to be bigger. One of the things that we do, we connect a lot with physicians, with senior living communities. We do health and wellness fairs. So when we're doing that, we're not just promoting our business, but we're also connecting with other businesses at those events to learn about what they do, because it becomes relevant to our clients. You know, they need a good audiologist that can help with hearing, because that profoundly affects your balance? Do they need a good podiatrist? Because, oh my gosh, if you don't have good feet, right, there's not much you can do north of that. Right. So connecting with those providers, with those resources to help them bring that to my community and create awareness as well, so that we can all provide value across all levels.
Yeah. And I think, growing your community imprint or footprint rather, a huge part of that is implementing some of the strategies that we've talked about, some of the things you're already doing. And so I know, and it's okay. We're all a work in progress in certain areas. And so being able to say, hey, something I want to get better at is certainly a good thing. And so we can connect offline and maybe talk about some opportunities as well. Let's go to Debbie. Debbie, for you're part of the Frisco Plano community. Let's just start kind of higher level here. What do you love? What's your favorite thing about being in Collin County as a business owner? And how have you just utilized really the growth that we have here in Collin County to be more visible, to be a bigger influence in the community? And why has that been such a positive for you?
Honestly, the community itself, I love, but even some is the fact that with the Community Difference podcast, I have been able to meet a lot of different people in the community. And we actually, my husband and I recently actually also purchased another business. So it has been a great opportunity to already have those connections and being able to use those connections and those relationships to now just even add more value to Collin County. And so it's really been impactful, and how supportive people are. I think that's the biggest thing too, is really people care and they really do want to help you grow your business or reach out. So very involved in social media and a lot of networking groups. And I mean, we're sending messages. Hey, you need to talk to Debbie. Hey, you need to talk to this person. And so I think that in itself, just the support that you can give when you're in a community and that you've built those relationships, helping all of us to grow is awesome.
I thank you. And I completely agree. I think we lost Marty. I think we got him back here. So Marty, can you hear us okay?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Sorry about that.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. No worries. Yeah. So I agree with you, Debbie. Audra, same thing to you. You're in both the Plano area and also in the Castle Hills area. And so what are some things that you're doing to really make yourself known in the community and really getting involved? And how would you recommend, because we got so many businesses coming here, right? How do you recommend, what's the first step to get out there and just start meeting people with no agenda necessarily, other than I want to make these connections and see what comes of it?
Yeah, I think just being a human. Most of us live in the communities that we work, right? So I'm at the grocery store, I'm at my kid's game, and you're just talking to people. Do you ever meet somebody and you're like, man, they're just an infectious person. You're just cool. I just want to be around you. What do you do?
Yes.
Even if their business doesn't seem to have any crossover with yours, if you like that person enough, you kind of want to partner them. You want to be around them. You want to, how can I support you? Especially those of us in the entrepreneur space. I think we all share something in common, that it's not easy. And how can I help you? Can I post about your business? Who do I know? And when you're motivated by that, by just giving to others and connecting with them, it comes around. And you may find that now you're creatively thinking outside the box on how can we partner up? How can we do this? Just because you're a cool person and I'm a cool person and let's do this thing. And it may be an event like we talked about at the beginning of the show that doesn't have to do with either of our businesses, but it's a passion that we both share, or it may be something collaborative like a health fair for both in that space. And I'll mention one more thing that I do that a lot of people don't know, you can join the local PTAs in those communities. You don't have to be a parent there. It's not weird. It's $11. You join the PTA, you help support those local schools. And, all those kids that go to school have parents that live in that community, that spend money at those stores, that hire those services. So you can get involved whether you have kids there or not, and have a touch point with so many people and really have a pulse on what's going on in your local community. You can do a sponsorship at a more expensive level, or you can just join the PTA for $11.
I love that. What you don't know, you talk about meeting cool people. Audra doesn't know this, but that's how I felt about her when we met 10 years ago. And she was selling wine at the time too, which was helpful. But that was a long time ago. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not a bad thing. But yeah, I completely. But the thing that we're all talking about here, it does require effort. I mean, it's like any relationship. Your marriage requires lots of effort. If you're in a dating relationship, requires effort. Kids, parents, your relationship with your community requires effort, and so it requires strategy and actual implementing some things, and which involves planning, which involves taking time to make the steps necessary to implement some strategies and not delay and wait around. Right, urgency is key. That's a big thing we talk about at The Difference, and the things that we're naturally mostly not as good at, because we just want things to kind of happen and we don't want to make them happen. That's the whole concept behind MESH, making exceptional stuff happen. And if you're really passionate about it, you might substitute that S word for another word that makes it a little more powerful. But we'll leave it at that. When we come back, what's the difference? Sorry, I saw your comment, Debbie. We've got to jump to break here. When we come back, what's the difference? We'll go over some really cool questions that I'll pose, and then we'll wrap up. So stick around, enjoy this commercial break. We'll be right back.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media, LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
What is the difference? Here's the question, and this one's really goes hand in hand with the topic. So we'll start with this one and get everybody's thoughts. What's the difference in a top-of-mind strategy that you would have that would have you and your brand showcasing hundreds of businesses in your community versus a top-of-mind strategy that only promotes your product or service? I'll read it one more time. What's the difference in a top-of-mind strategy that would have you and your brand showcasing hundreds of businesses in your community versus a top-of-mind strategy that would only promote your product or service? Debbie, I'm going to start with you. I feel like you're ready to go.
No, I wasn't.
Now you are, though. You got this.
Okay. Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Okay. The difference between having a strategy that showcases your brand, but showcases your brand along with hundreds of other businesses in your community versus one that is just talking about promoting your product or service.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I definitely think it actually still comes back to education in my realm when it comes to finance. So I'm partnering with maybe a health insurance person. I might be partnering with a mortgage person, partnering with several different people instead of just one, putting maybe a lunch and learn or a Zoom meeting out there. Come learn about financial concepts from all areas so that now we're working together. It's not just about me, it's about all the other portions of it. So just kind of getting out there all together and helping and educate. So,
Audra.
Well, that's an easy one in the health space, right? We all need to work out. We all need to exercise. Weightlifting is great for everyone for mobility and strength, but there's so many different aspects of health out there. And that's why I wanted to partner with Deb on OsteoStrong, because bone health is exceptionally important. And that is not my expertise, although weight training helps with that. She has a lot more information and insight and tools to help with that. Same with physical therapists, chiropractors, and even other fitness facilities. They have different approaches, different philosophies, and we aren't a one size fits all. We're very specific. So if we're not a good fit for you, I am happy to send you to a place that's going to enhance your health and help you live a healthier lifestyle, even if that's not with my business. So I think we all need each other.
Yeah, and I like that. I'll go to Marty because I want to just get to the crux of it. Why is one better than the other? What's the difference between both of them, Marty?
The difference between the strategy and the
having a top of mind strategy that includes multiple businesses, multiple brands, along with yours, as opposed to one just promoting yourself.
One thing that I was thinking about as we were all talking. An event that would be so cool to have would be an event that you get underprivileged kids from a bunch of different schools, and they bring their parents to a health seminar with doctors to go over DEXA scanning, bone density, and bone strengthening. And the idea of bringing those kids in to have them envision as they can become a doctor, they can have a career in another path, is an amazing type of event. I did one 25 years ago called Meeting of the Minds. And listening to this, can you imagine all these kids bringing their grandparents along and they do the bone density, they understand OsteoStrong, what can be done. All of a sudden you have a dynamic audience of 200 people with a lot of vibrancy out there because the kids are learning, the grandparents are learning, the doctors are giving back to the community. Everybody's winning in that scenario without promoting your company.
Yeah, and I think go ahead.
So the difference, now that I'm listening to everybody else, the difference seems to be providing value and education and selling. When you're selling yourself and you're highlighting your strengths and what your company does. And when you're providing value, you're highlighting a whole industry. And it's more comprehensive. I would say that's the difference.
You're on the right path. Let's get Deb in there. And then did we go? Deb, did I just miss you? No. Yeah, go ahead.
No, good. And I'm kind of same mindset to reach a lot of people on a bunch of different topics. A health event is relevant for everyone, and it's relevant for the young people. It's relevant for the parents, the older people, because then the parents is actually more relevant than all because we're caring for both ends, right? Mm-hmm. We're caring for our parents and we're caring for our children. So bringing people from the insurance industry in so that we're covered and we can handle things financially, right? But also a wellness and improving your balance and strength and keeping your mind active and the importance of your hearing and how it all plays in. And if we can bring multi-generations in, that's brilliant, right? And health events, educational events. Reason.
And you guys are really, you're talking about what type of event, which is good. And these are all good ideas. Yes. But the actual answer is the difference is when you promote other people, you're automatically expanding your reach. Okay. and your marketing dollars, right? By gaining awareness with the audiences who support those businesses that you're promoting. So you're basically getting free marketing in a sense, which is awesome. Lyndon, I know you wanted to jump in on that on the back end here.
Yeah. So when I look at this, obviously I see it differently as how I built the difference itself. But if I'm Deb or Debbie, Audra, or Marty, I would consider looking at it this way. And Nathan, you kind of explained it in the answer, but what if you set up a platform where you interviewed 2 businesses a week within your community? And all you did was go, I'm Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers. We do financial literacy, but I'm here today to interview Audra with Alloy. And you just shine the spotlight on her. Her audience is going to see who you are. Now they're going to know who you are. You've not been salesy and self-promoting. Right. So you're getting outside of your circle. If we only market to people that want what we have right now, there's millions of people that will never know we exist.
Yeah.
And so we've got to be able to get out in front of people that go, I don't need financial services. This is funny, but they will say this, I don't need to work out. Like, yeah, you do, but you're not ready to yet. That's for sure. But
my mirror says otherwise.
When they do think about it, they're like, you know what? I love this Audra girl. She is always talking and doing great things for everybody in our community. She's helping every business. And every time I see this business, I think of Audra. Every time I see Marty's, I think of Audra because Audra interviewed him. Audra interviewed Deb. Audra interviewed Debbie. And that is the great top of mind has to be frequent, consistent, and repetitive.
Yeah.
Just one event will get you interest, but they will forget about you in 3 months.
Right.
And that's where the word strategy is key, because the strategy indicates this is a continual process. And I think that's where, we try to do something great and then not a lot comes from it. You're like, well, why doesn't everybody know me now? I'm like, well, you got to continue doing those same things. And so great conversation today. Great ideas. Hopefully you took something away from it. We're going to wrap up, give everybody about 15 seconds, if you will, to tell us, what you got out of this, what you're going to implement, what you enjoyed about the show today. We'll start with Deb. Deb, if you can give us about 15 or 20 seconds.
Absolutely. So I really love the idea about showcasing these connections, these great connections, these great resources. We do what are called strong talks, where I bring people into the center, but reaching people via video is relevant. It's timely. Everybody loves it. And I'm excited really about pursuing that.
Awesome. I'm gonna check in on the 3 of y'all and see if y'all put something together here in the next month. So we'll see what comes of that. Marty, 15 seconds to you, sir.
I love the topic. I sold bone density machines 30 years ago. So listening to the topic today, I was just smiling inside, seeing how the industry has evolved. But just the correlation, 6 degrees of separation, I can relate to each and every person on the screen and all the stories that were told. I've got to be well-versed in all businesses, being from paychecks. But today was just very fulfilling to hear that, wow, we're much closer than I realized. So thank you.
Well, it was great to have you, Marty. Thank you. Audra.
Well, you know what? I'm newer to the community difference and I'm loving it so far because what it's forcing me to do is keep connecting with more businesses in my local community and bringing guests on and finding ways to collaborate and highlight them. It's fun for me. I love supporting other people, especially entrepreneurs. But like you said, and like Lyndon said, this is how I can stay top of mind by highlighting other people and allowing them a great platform to impact our community. And that it helps me too.
I love that. And finally, Debbie Watson, who I will not call Deb.
I think the greatest thing that I loved about today is just those little takeaway tidbits. When Audra said about the PTA, that's brilliant. That helps me in both businesses. And so I never would have thought of that. So, I just love coming out of these, and I always get something that I can take away and improve on the things that I've already been trying to improve on this year. So
that's fantastic. I love that. And I love, for me, I really took away, I like the storytelling idea that Marty shared with the numbers. I got to figure out what are some key numbers with my life and my business that I can use to, because you always talk about your elevator pitch, and that's, you don't always want to be pitching people, but when you can tell a story with numbers, that's obviously a good thing and a good way to be remembered, even in one-on-one interactions. I know we're talking on a larger scale about developing the strategies that we can continue to implement that elevate us as a resource beyond just our particular business or arena. So, Marty, thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you. Deb, awesome job. And of course, Audra and Debbie, enjoyed it very much. Join us tomorrow at the First Christian Church for the Business Development Alliance, 4 p.m. We'll have our happy hour right afterwards. Stick around for next week. We'll be back. New topic, new amazing co-host and guests. Thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching today's show. The Community Difference Plano was made possible by Nathan Smith with the Enfuego Group, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Lauren Gill with My Love Travel, Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage, Megan Schoffer with the Hive of the Happily Insured, Jeannie Smith with Guardian Mortgage, a division of Sunflower Bank, N.A. And by Audra Hooper with Alloy Personal Training at the Glen Eagles Plano and Castle Hills locations. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference.